Alrighty, guys, this is too much. This is way too much. I've not read this yet, but I've heard a lot about it. I think this is going to be really, really, really hilarious. So apparently, a conversation between Count Dankula and Seth Rogen has popped up, and I am all too eager to read this. Knowing Seth Rogen's timeline and all the stupid things that he has posted, like, someone saying, why do you support socialism? He goes, because I believe in equality. Why do you support fascism? What a stupid comment to generally make when fascism has only existed legitimately in socialist societies, in socialist economies. When has fascism existed in any kind of capitalist economy? Genuinely curious. I know I have a video that I really should have put out by now. Really should have been working on. But I didn't because, time and schedule changes and this week's going to be rough. Just to let you know what it is, I work Thursday for 4 hours, but then I record with Intoxigaming Thursdays usually. But then I work Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 3 12s in a row. Then I have Monday off. Then I'm going to have Tuesday and Wednesday as 2 12s. Then I'll have Thursday off and Friday off. No, I don't work. No, I don't have Friday off. I work 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. Friday, 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. Saturday, and then I'll have Sunday off. So it's a whole mess, like, just to let you know. Yeah, yikes. So, as a normal working class person, I love when people like Seth Rogen sit there and tell me how socialism is better while his fat ass gets to sit and eat anything he wants, do whatever he wants, and not have his wealth redistributed. But people like me have to have my wealth redistributed, I make $35,000. Whoops, sorry, guys. I make $35,000 a year. This guy makes millions. And yet he wants to sit here and talk about how awful, capitalism is. Like, what an absolute idiot. Legitimately, what an idiot. I support socialism unless it's for me. Freaking moron. Oh, and also, let's go ahead and just insult every Canadian, by the way. I don't support fascism. Remember, socialism only works in two places, heaven where they don't need it, and hell where they already have it. Ronald Reagan. Whenever he says, because I believe in equality, support fascism. So then he goes, I guess you've never been to Canada. You must be a special kind of stupid to think that Canada is a socialist economy. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Yes, they do have state ownership on their hospitals. And if you ask any Canadian how great it is, go ahead. It's not. It's not good. You have to wait in the waiting room forever. Guess what? I'm a Native American. Guess what I have access to? Native American healthcare. It sucks. It's why I have insurance. It's why I don't go there. When you legitimately get something like the flu, okay, and you have to wait in their waiting room for 16 hours to get treated because you feel awful, you feel like you're dying, you're yakking your brains out, you're debating on, should I get an IV drip because, I can't keep any water down at all, but the entire time you're pondering that, you're sitting in a waiting room for 16 hours, the most miserable time of your life, when you have a doctor with insurance, and a nice, capitalist society where you get in, have benefits like that, and you get to go and see your doctor within 30 minutes and get treated and go home, and get to relax for the rest of the day. Yeah, it kind of sucks. Now I understand his perspective of maybe getting some of that access for maybe we should just create emergency rooms, right? And just have emergencies only. But the problem is people abuse those. Don't know if you're aware of that, but people will go to an emergency room to, get medication for a cold. Or something along those lines. Or, I have a toothache, I can't afford insurance and all that. And I get it. There are some people out there who struggle and can't afford insurance. Maybe we should do things to make it better. But to sit there and make everything, quote unquote, free in our society and have a completely broken system is not the answer. But, let's leave it to the mega millionaire to tell, working class people how to actually live. Because that's just ingenious. So anyway, let's go ahead. I want to just read Dankula's stuff. Hi, not sure who you are, but if you think... Kid's fussing a little bit. She'll go back to sleep in a second. Hi, not sure who you are, but if you think I'm going to respond to you to give you public attention, you're sadly mistaken. But who are you? Well, Seth Rogen, you're an idiot. You're so... What an actual... idiot. This guy's clearly someone who fell into acting and didn't really have anything else going on for life. He'd probably be a homeless person legitimately with that, way of thinking. You think this wasn't going to get released and get public attention? How stupid are you? Anyway, I was just calling out the hyperbole. That's all. I'm a YouTuber, but the thing that most people know me for is I'm the guy that taught my girlfriend's pug to Nazi salute to piss her off for a joke and got arrested for it. I spend most of my days now consistently getting called a fascist Nazi, even though I'm literally a member of the Libertarian Party. Just when I see fascist getting applied incorrectly, it annoys me. That was all. Well, it's happening in America. Happening in America is a literal attempt at fascism. It not hyperbolic. Sure. It is being hyperbolic. Absolutely being hyperbolic. To sit there and call people who are pro-capitalist, pro-freedom, pro-Trump fascists is the most ridiculous garbage. He has no idea what fascism is. He's never studied it. I guarantee you he's never cracked a book open on World War II. I bet he's never even read Hitler's literature. Which the funny thing about it is page 50 of Hitler's second book, he literally states, I am a socialist. He literally talks about his National Socialist Party. That was fascism. And guess where it exists? It exists in socialism. It exists in Marxism. And it exists in Chinese style, like, communism. Because here's the funny thing about it that most people don't understand. I love it when people are like, I'm not a communist, I'm a Marxist. Marx wrote the Communist Manifesto. Marx created communism. Marxism is, by his own definition, communism. It's really what the Russians used. They really, it's kind of interesting how the Russians really, really enjoyed Karl Marx, and yet Karl Marx was a German, and you think that Hitler would have actually appreciated Karl Marx a lot more being a native German. He was very, very, very nationalist, but I think one reason why he actually disagreed with Karl Marx is because Karl Marx was a globalist. Hitler was not a globalist. He wanted Germany. I mean, it's weird to say he's not a globalist because he wanted to take over the globe, but he wanted everything to be German culture. So it's nationalism on a global scale. It's such a strange kind of thing to want to worry about. Everyone must speak German. Everyone must do German traditions and stuff. I guess it's not all too different than, what Crusaders were doing and like how a lot of actually like evangelical Christians actually believe that everybody should be under the same religion, right? I guess I could see it, but, let's read this. I don't for a second condone what happened in the Capitol, but it wasn't fascist. I spoke to a lot of people on the ground, and the main reason they were pissed off is the lockdowns destroying their livelihood and constant smears by the media call them fascists. Well, and there was also the fact that they were demanding for an investigation on the elections. See, one of the biggest things that really irritated me is the extreme left got their investigation for 4 years over Trump's election fraud. Trump apparently had Russia hack the election and got him elected. That's what the left said. They said that Trump committed fraud. And now we're like, hey, we want an investigation. They're like, no. As a matter of fact, the senator from Florida asked Pelosi, he goes, why won't you allow an investigation on the election? And she ignored him. And he asked one more time. And then she was like, oh, your time's up. Wouldn't even answer him. It's pretty incredible. So anyway, he's like, I'm not saying there were not any far right there. There was, but there were a small amount of them. So to brand an entire protest based on a small percentage of its attendees is just very unfair. For example, pro-pedal advocates also demonstrated during the BLM riots. Would it be fair for me to call the BLM riots a pedo uprising? Just stuff like what you said gets every single person on the right branded as fascist when they are not. It just honestly does not help. It just honestly does not help. Fascists make up a teeny tiny percentage of the right. But whenever the right does anything, they all get called fascists. And he goes, you're an idiot. Have a good one. Was hoping to have a decent conversation about this, but I could see you are too far gone. Shame. Big fan of your movies back in the day. Oh, well. He said, let's see. Where was the rest of it? Because that wasn't all of it, was it? Are you a Jewish person? No, I'm not. Have you seen the video? Then you're either someone who is not funny, has astoundingly bad judgment, or most likely both. I have. You're not funny. I work in the sphere. Oh, okay. So, opinion. Seth Rogen's opinion matters, guys. Saying the guy who has done really bad things in his past, but made all sorts of bad jokes that could be very distasteful. But you know what? Opinions. And if this breaks your country's laws in regards to hate crimes, you're an even bigger idiot. Seth, here's a fun fact. Here's a fun fact. If your dumbass went to North Korea, they would immediately recognize you and lock you down for violating their law. Do you think that's right? Do you remember how legitimately your movie couldn't be put into theaters because you violated North Korean law and they made threats to the United States? Do you not remember that? But it's only okay to disagree with some countries' laws. Other countries' laws, you know, it's okay. How are you going to be an arbiter of, like, this is what's morally good and this is what's morally bad, whenever your opinion on this is so shoddy? That's such a stupid point to make. If this breaks your country's laws in regards to hate crimes, you're an even bigger idiot. Technically, Seth, you've already committed several hate crimes in many different movies to many different countries. Do you think that's okay? No, it's only okay when you do it. Rules for thee, not for me. Amazing, dude. Absolute idiot. Did a U.S. tour plus manage to hit 800,000 subscribers on YouTube? Oh, I see what he's saying. It's just kind of clipped out of context there. Did a U.S. tour plus manage to hit 800,000 subscribers on YouTube? Lots of people seem to find me funny. Maybe I could be on your level one day making all my jokes. Dude, we LMAO. Good one. There's that humor. Well, it wasn't really a joke. It's kind of pointing out how your humor, a lot of people don't find it to be funny, man. Your movies were good back in the day, but all your stuff is just about garbage now. Just about garbage. Nobody enjoys it. Let's see. I know there's more. Interesting, though. Not everything got released, but I don't know. Apparently, from what I heard during the TISM stream, Seth Rogen said something about, like, you know, he was a shitty comedian or something like that, and he clapped back. You know, got that clap. Clap back. Like he said, he called Dankula like a shitty comedian or something, and he says the guy who made the movie Sausage Party, which, my God, have y'all ever seen that movie? It's really bad. It genuinely is a bad movie. What does he even get on? I'm just curious. I hated that movie. Rotten Tomatoes score. Let's see what it was. I really, really hated that movie. Yeah, audience score 50%. Yeah. How do I continue with that disability? There we go. Yeah. Yeah. That's the guy who claims to be funny. I know what funny is. But you are not funny. It's just, fuck off. Really? You released this shit? Seriously, this is a bunch of people swearing, plot was stupid, and the orgy was disgusting. Yaku thinks this is funny, and how many times did they get dropped on their heads? Probably the worst ever made. I didn't even click, like, these are all half stars. I didn't even click this. Like, all critics, all audience. I didn't even click a filter to go for all the stars. Look at all this crap. Probably the worst movie ever made. What a waste of time. Garbage, not a good movie, not funny at all, just super boring. Typical atheist bullcrap. Normally I would love a movie like this. It has talent that I enjoy making it, and in it, just missed the mark for me in a big way. Too much swear words. It would be great if this was a kid's film. It steals ideas from South Park. Yeah, essentially. You know? Let's see here. I blame this movie for every tragedy that has ever befallen and will ever befall the human race. We allowed this to happen, and it is an affront to the powers of good. So we're being punished, and rightfully so. Okay. Very raunchy, crass, and crude animated film. The characters are very funny, and the voices for them are all impeccable. Fun CGI Pixar-like spoof, has a little rewatch necessity. I saw this back when it first released and thought it was funny. Watching it in 2020, I laughed maybe one time in the first hour, then gave up and fast forwarded to the end, which looked kind of pointless. I appreciated the commentary about how religion is nonsense, and I can appreciate some of the characters, but it just wasn't funny. Speaking of religion being nonsense, right? Joe, this movie is too inappropriate, blah, blah, blah. And I get that, you know. Like, I'm not worried about the people saying it's too inappropriate and are offended by bad words. To me, that's really not a good complaint, that it uses too many bad words. Was the movie funny or was it not? I hated it. I hated the plot of the movie. As a person who's really not religious either, at all, it just, the whole religious thing, the whole religious speech didn't really freaking belong. It was just thrown in there. I didn't care for it. I thought the orgy scene was so bad. It was so bad. It's just, what was the point? I did not understand it. I hated it. Yeah, and well, that's the thing too, though, okay? I didn't mind the cussing so much. Except the cussing took place literally every single word. And the thing about it is there aren't very many cuss words out there. So when you hear the same word over and 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 over again in a movie, it just really doesn't seem like it was a lot of thought was put into it, in my opinion. Like I said, I don't mind the cussing. I don't mind cussing in general in movies, obviously. I'm a huge fan of South Park. Whenever South Park makes a show about a cuss word and uses it profusely, that's fine because the premise is, hey, there's this specific word that we're talking about. The movie wasn't about that. It was just like some dude smoking pot and just dropping an F-bomb every single second he could. It's one of those, and it's just cringy. Didn't like it. Regardless, this is a guy who wants to be telling people who is and who is not funny. I don't understand that, okay? Now, I've been guilty of that to a degree, but not because I genuinely thought somebody was an untalented person or because other people don't have a right to their opinions, but because Gary Clark Jr., I trashed his guitar playing. Simply because I said, instead of worrying about so much racial issues and making songs that are awful and making up stories to try and, get your fame up there, you could just practice your guitar and learn how to play better, and that'll probably do what you actually want it to do. Because he made some garbage stories up about how his black neighbor, or his white neighbors, ran him off, or tried to run him off by spraying his ranch out in the middle of nowhere, spray painting all his gates and stuff with racial slurs. And it's like, dude, it didn't happen. All your neighbors denied it. They're like, no. And you have no evidence. You have cameras too, and you didn't manage to catch it on camera. It's just like, come on. Come on, dude. You're so full of crap. You are so full of crap. Nobody told you to do that. Nobody was threatening you. And he made a whole song about it. And it's like, how convenient. How unbelievably convenient that you're trying to make an entire inspiring story about how you overcame racist people against you in a very timely manner to that happening. Weird, right? Maybe he's just so good. Honestly, I don't find him to be very good. I don't like the music. Not a fan. I call him the next Jimi Hendrix. Well, here's a fun fact about Jimi Hendrix. Jimi Hendrix was not that good. Oh, I just pissed off a lot of people. Now, let me explain. Jimi Hendrix hadn't been playing guitar for very long. He was good for where he was at. That's the difference. Jimi Hendrix put effort in. He didn't know much about music, but by God, he wanted to play music. That's like old school punk bands. They were people who wanted to learn how to play, but just didn't have the resources. And then you have new age punk bands who play bad on purpose because old punk bands didn't play so well. But it was about the energy. It was about the music that they made with the resources that they had. That's why punk is cool. Old school punk. That's why Jimi Hendrix was cool. That's why I like listening to Jimi Hendrix. But if you want to sit there and say that Jimi Hendrix could even hold his own against someone like Slash, Randy Rhoads, Richie Blackmore, or any of those people around the same time, or Eddie Van Halen or any of that, you'd be out of your mind. You'd be out of your mind to sit there and think he could hold his own against those kind of people. But Jimi Hendrix didn't care about that. That's the point. He wanted to make good music with feeling that he really cared about. It wasn't about making a statement. It wasn't about making up garbage stories. It's about making good music, as good as he could make it, and stuff that he enjoyed. And when I see comedians out there, and I see artists in general, I'll just blanket it, artists in general, that have a priority of getting a message out there first and not putting any work into their art, they put their art second, drives me crazy, and it's incredibly noticeable. Drives me insane, and it's very, very, very noticeable. That's what I hate. That's why I don't sit there and I put out like music about politics and stuff like that. I work on my guitar constantly because I want to be good. Not because I want to put some message out there of saving the planet or being better politically and stuff like that. No, I make these videos for that. I rant. And then when I make music because I want it to sound awesome and be good. I just can't stand it. It's one of those things to where I could rant probably about this forever, but I don't have enough time. So, I don't know. Seth Rogen, dude, you have a lot of reading to do. You have a lot of time on your hands. You're a very, very rich man. Maybe before trying to push socialism, you get rid of your wealth first. Don't ever sit there and say socialism is good when you're making multi-millions and you have those multi-millions on you. If you want socialism, donate your wealth and learn how to live off of $35,000 a year. Because, by God, you push for it hard enough and you make it a reality, you make socialism a reality, and you think your ass is going to be up at the top? Nah, dude. You're going to be raking the fields and you're going to hate life. That's where you'll be. You're an idiot. Anyway, that's all I have to say, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Please like, subscribe, and share, and I'll see you all in the next one. Later.